My name is Chris Colley, and I'm with the Yellow Rose Theater. I'm the Associate Director here at the theater. I came in contact with Ray, and the first time with the equipment, we had, of course, a tornado that came through here and more on May 21st, or excuse me, May 20th, and then on May 31st, a second set of storms and tornado came through, at which time we received close to $300,000 to $400,000 worth of damage. Right after that storm, immediately following it, there was about a 5-inch rain that occurred, and so we had a lot of water damage that very night. Well, within a couple of days, because of the heat, the humidity, we had a mold problem. And in fact, in our kitchen, there was a tremendous mold problem. We had a mold problem in our lobby here in the theater. We had a mold problem in our back hallway. And a lot of our employees were getting sick because of how strong the mold was. We had a relationship with Ray. Ray heard about the damage that had occurred and brought the machines over and asked us to give them a try. So we immediately hooked up the machines, and I would say within just a couple of hours, there was a noticeable difference in the level of mold that was in the air. And I would say within half a day, the smell and the effect of the mold was completely gone. We continued to use the machines since there was a lot of damage, and it took us about a week to get a restoration company in here. And so during that time period, while the restoration company was in here replacing ceiling tiles and patching the roof, there was still the problem with the mold. Well, that was all mitigated by the fact that we were using the HiTech Air Solutions equipment. I've never seen anything like it. We've had damage in the past. We've had storms come through. Living here and more, we've been through about 5 tornadoes, and we've taken direct damage here in our facility 3 separate times over the last 15 years. And each time we've had a problem with mold, and it's taken weeks to be able to get the mold out, be able to get the mold out of the air, and it's been a big problem. This time it wasn't a problem whatsoever, just the initial period till we got the machines up and running. So I definitely and wholeheartedly can recommend this equipment. It's been amazing. I've never seen anything like that. Mold has been a tremendous problem. I've had mold problems with different facilities and in my own home with storm damage before, and I know how difficult it can be to get it out. And I've never seen anything work like this, so I believe in it and recommend it wholeheartedly. The storm that hit on May 31st was on a Friday evening, and we were concerned because we had a show the next night, and there was a mold smell. Ray and his crew came in and set up on Saturday morning, and because of the equipment, we were able to open. And as they say in show business, the show went on because of Ray's equipment, helped us to be able to do that. So it's, as I said, it's extremely effective.
Bill and Ruth Billings, Oklahoma City, on the 28th of May, when they had the flood. I guess about 3 in the morning, I'd get up to use the bathroom, and I was walking in water. So that was it. Then, of course, we all got up and we couldn't believe it, you know. We looked outside and, man, water was everywhere.
We didn't realize how dangerous it was, you know, because we didn't know about stuff like that, you know, mold, I mean, you know.
Well, that one room in there in the little bedroom, they had mold up on about that high on the wall. When they came out here to take the rug up, they said they're going to have to cut our house up at least that high to get all the mold out. And he put a machine on here and said, "Oh, you got moisture all the way up in here, and that's all got to be coming out of there." And I said, "Well, there ain't no way you're going to do that." Well, we didn't have to do that because we put the machine in there, and that got rid of all the mold. Each day it was getting less and less and less.
We keep checking around.
I keep looking in the closets and can't find nothing nowhere. We had three tests, and they come back clean, and third one was perfect. 0, 0. So that's what that machine did.
Hi, my name is Dick Lee, and I'm an environmental hygienist. Been doing this for about 15 years, and I have taught it at the college level at a couple of different universities. I'm also a licensed home inspector here in Oklahoma. I first became acquainted with Ray and the Air Reactor system when I was called out to do some work for the absentee Shawnee Indian tribe. They had a problem in one of their tribal buildings, and the machine had been running in the building for I guess a couple of weeks, and they had me come in and do some follow-up air samples. When I reviewed the original air sample results and compared them to the air samples that I took after the machine had been running, one of the first things I noticed was the reduction overall of all the different mold species, but particularly the effect that it had on the high level of Stachybotrys mold that was found in the original samples. It had been completely eradicated. I found that very interesting. I'm normally the type of an environmentalist that when I write directions or protocol for remediation, I would refer to myself as a remove and replace kind of guy. I normally call for all the damaged drywall and building materials to be physically removed, cleaned, the remainder of the building cleaned, and then the material put back. In my years of doing this, I've seen 30 different quick fixes come and go. And when Ray told me about his device, I have to say that, just like I said to him, I was very skeptical of it. I told him that in my experience, I haven't had good results with those kind of things, the chemical treatment and all the other things that I've seen come and go. But I did agree to go do the sampling and do some more sampling for him, through him, with the absentee Shawnee tribe. Not sure how you would say it, but I guess you could call me a believer now. In the time that I've been involved with this system, I've seen it completely eradicate Stachybotrys in at least a half a dozen places. I've seen the same results when I did formaldehyde testing at about a half a dozen FEMA trailers that had been provided to members of the absentee Shawnee tribe. But it had removed the pet dander, because these folks have a dog. It had removed the pet dander, the dead skin cells, and the dust and other fibers that were found on the original and the first follow-up from 50 to 25%. That in and of itself would actually help the average person that has allergies. Even if it's not mold, you get rid of the rest of the debris in the air, makes it easier to breathe. I think that if you're having any kind of respiratory issues or a sinus problem, or you're just getting headaches that you can't get rid of, a lot of that could probably be tied back to mold. We had a home that was flooded, again, Indian tribe members, up by Midwest City, and I went in and did the original air samples and assessed the home. The remove and replace part of me, when I wrote my protocol for remediation, said that they needed to remove the walls, the drywall, and the paneling up to probably about 4 feet, and all the insulation, and clean the wall studs and do a normal process for remediation. That's what I wrote in my protocol. They were interested in using Ray's device, so they put it in there. I went back and did a follow-up sample, and then I did one at 3 months, and that was the one that really surprised me. They had gone from the original, they were in the neighborhood of like 22,000 total mold spore and hypofragment count. And when I did the follow-up at 3 months, they were, I believe, right at less than 800 total count. And the Aspergillus penicillium, which I believe was in the 15,000 range, came back with 0 spores on the follow-up air sample from their living room. I've never seen anything like that. The other thing I'd like to mention about the house that was flooded is that you're looking at about a 1,600 square foot ranch-style home, so it's very linear. The system was set up in the living room all the way at one end of the house. And when I went into the home the first time, all the way down the hallway and around the corner into the master bedroom and actually in several closets, the mold had gotten to the stage where you had visible colony flowering units, and the walls were fuzzy in the closets from the colony flowering units. when I went back for the 3-month checkup, those colony flowering units had been completely eradicated. There was nothing visible on the walls, and I'm talking about all the way at the other end of the house. So the really neat thing about this system is you don't have to have one of these in every room. It did its job all the way at the far end of the house, and I quite frankly have never seen anything like it.
Hi, I'm Clarence, and this is my wife Janie. We live in Oklahoma City, and we've had Ray's machine now for about 2 weeks. We have noticed a remarkable change in what our atmosphere is in the house as far as air quality. The dust level is down. I'm breathing better, sleeping better at night. It's just just really nice to breathe good, clean air for a change. I have had no headaches, and before I was having headaches for approximately, sometimes they would last as long as a month. So everything that makes me happy, because headaches are not very comfortable.
Nice not to have to dust like I used to have to dust. It's a lot of taking care of the dust a lot, and I'd had some headaches too, and I haven't had any since we've had the machine.
I'm Susan Wassam, and this is Randy. We're from Wagner, Oklahoma, and several months ago a friend of mine contacted me about a machine that he had developed that helped air quality. And he said, "Are you interested in better air quality?" And I was like, "Well, yeah, I go to the allergy clinic at least once a month over in Tulsa for the last 3 years. And then my husband was born with a birth defect that his lungs didn't develop properly. And at the time, whenever this friend called, we had looked into getting a machine for his sleep apnea. And so he had no way of knowing that at the time. And so anyway, we went over to Oklahoma City and checked out these machines, and we're delighted with what they've done. They help to change the molecular structure of the bacteria, mold, and virus in the air. And what is it people say whenever they come over, Randy?
When people walk in our house, they'll usually come in for a few minutes and they'll say, "Man, your house smells really good. What are y'all doing?" And we say, "Well, we've got an air machine in here that cleans the air," and that's all we do. There's no candles or anything like that. I have had asthma for many years, and it's really difficult for me to get a full lung of air in my lungs. And when we get this machine going, and we have it in a bedroom, and it shoots the air down the hallway, and when I walk in that hallway, it just seems like I can take a big breath of air and my lungs fill up, and it just really feels good to be able to get a good breath of air.
When we first got this machine, I placed it in my kitchen area, and one of the things that we noticed is the way the house smelled while we were cooking. We were just absolutely amazed at the fact that I had it sitting in the kitchen where the clean air was coming into the living room. I could actually have something on the cook stove burning and could not smell it in the living room. And I actually did that on purpose. He knows.
Yeah, right.
He knows I can't boil water but without burning it. But no,
she's a good cook.
We really did notice how much it improved the air quality. And I don't know if you've realized it or not, but a lot of restaurants have a lot of foul odors that, and their air quality is very poor. And it could so improve any restaurant or home, anywhere you're cooking. And because those, when you cook, it creates toxins in the air, and it really does improve the air quality.
We had, of course, a tornado that came through here in Moore on May 21st, or excuse me, May 20th. And then on May 31st, a second set of storms and tornado came through, at which time we received close to $300,000 to $400,000 worth of damage. Right after that storm, immediately following it, there was about a 5-inch rain that occurred, and so we had a lot of water damage that very night. So during that time period, while the restoration company was in here replacing ceiling tiles and patching the roof, there was still the problem with the mold. Well, that was all mitigated by the fact that we were using the HiTech Air Solutions equipment. I've never seen anything like it. We've had damage in the past. We've had storms come through. Living here and more, we've been through about 5 tornadoes, and we've taken direct damage here in our facility 3 separate times. Well, within a couple of days, because of the heat, the humidity, we had a mold problem. And in fact, in our kitchen, there was a tremendous mold problem. We had a mold problem in our lobby here in the theater. We had a mold problem in our back hallway. And a lot of our employees were getting sick because of how strong the mold was. We had a relationship with Ray. Ray heard about the damage that had occurred and brought the machines over and asked us to give them a try. So we immediately hooked up the machines, and I would say within just a couple of hours, there was a noticeable difference in the level of mold that was in the air. And within, I would say, within half a day, the smell and the effect of the mold was completely gone. We continued to use the machines since there was a lot of damage, and it took us about a week to get a restoration company in here. And so my name is Chris Colley, and I'm with the Yellow Rose Theater. I'm the Associate Director here at the theater. I came in contact with Ray, and the first time with the equipment